What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Real Fans FC, episode 26. And the boys are back. We got a lot of footy to talk about. MLS, Concacaf Champions League, Champions Cup, UEFA. We're bringing back the most popular thing we've done, the MLS match day predictions, even though we're always incredibly wrong every time.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Unpredictable, but we'll get to that when it comes. Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to show you guys what we got in store for the MLS picks and how we're going to keep track of it from now on. It's going to be extremely visual, meaning there's going to be no guessing, there's going to be no bullshit. It's going to be pretty obvious, and we're going to go through it in the beginning every single week.
And if you guys aren't watching and you guys are just listening, we brought the beautiful face that is Will. Will, how you doing today?
What's up, guys? Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Long week, like you were saying, Julian. A lot of footy cover to action and cover it up. So I'm excited to talk to you guys and dive into it and see what we got.
All right. So let's start off with the thing that kicked off this past weekend, and that is MLS. And within that, let's talk about, I guess, our biggest surprises out of week one from what we saw in that first match day. Obviously, Miami and Real Salt Lake played two matches, but we'll count that as one. I'll start with you, Will. What was the thing that surprised you the most that was like, whoa, like I did not see that coming out of week one?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It was a good first week, I have to say. The MLS, I will say, usually myself, I'm not the biggest MLS watcher, the biggest MLS train guy. But I have to say, though, this past weekend, that happened, I was excited. There was a lot of good games, obviously kicking it off with Inter Miami against Real Salt Lake last Wednesday, and then really getting into the things of it, the nitty gritty. It was good. It was a good week. I have to say, though, the game for me was the Inter Miami LA Galaxy down in Los Angeles. I mean, Messi, just doing messy things. So there's a reason why he's the greatest in the world. But no, it was a really good week, and I mean, there was a lot of good games, and yeah, a lot of hot topics with this week coming up also. So,
Adam, what about you? What game or moment stuck out to you?
Oh man, I mean, the obvious choice has to be, you'd have to say the Miami game, and we'll definitely talk a little bit about that. But I was very interested in, even though it ended 0-0, I was interested in the Cincinnati-Toronto game. I actually thought both teams looked really good, and I think Toronto looked a lot better this year. So that's going to be interesting to see how they end up. They're going to need their star players to start clicking. Insigne, Bernadeschi, they're going to need to, start doing more. But foundationally and, in terms of like their midfield, they look a lot better. It's crazy. They've wiped off the Bradley shit completely clean, and now their midfield looks good. It's a miracle. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Yeah, we'll say with Toronto real quick. I think, bringing in John Herdman, the Canada head coach, who stepped down to be a part of the Toronto head coach, turns out so far to be pretty good hire. I mean, obviously time will tell, and we'll see how things go. Cincinnati, obviously supporter shield, supposed to be an MLS contender this year. So a good result by Toronto. The biggest thing with Toronto that did surprise me this offseason is they didn't really do anything. And I don't know if it's because of this high wage bill that they feel that they can't really sign anybody, but I am surprised to see they did look a lot better considering they didn't really make changes. So that's usually a good sign that the coaching is performing well. So we'll see as time goes. For me, and Adam, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up as an Inter Miami fan. How about Phil Neville and the boys in Portland dropping 4 goals on Colorado Rapids, 4-1.
4 goals on 3 shots.
Yeah.
You should mention that.
Obviously,
I'm not even lying,
Colorado,
too. That's
not
the
the
worst
best
fucking
team.
part. For those of you who think I'm actually making a joke, I'm not. That was what it was. It was 4 goals on 3 shots, and you're like, how the fuck is that possible? Own goal. God
Either
damn it.
way,
Phil
yeah.
Neville.
You know what's
does
funny
not,
too? Guess
shy
what their
away from his
expected
style.
goal. Guess what their XG was.
What is he gonna be, really high or really low?
Just give me a
I
number.
feel like high.
Probably, I don't know, 0.8.
At Will. Will, what do you think? Don't look.
I'm tempted. I'm gonna go with kind of close to Adams. I'm gonna say 0.7.
Okay, I thought you guys were going to go a lot higher. Their expected goals was 0.5, and they put 4 on Colorado. Absolutely insane when you think about it. So they had 7 total shots at him and 3 shots on target.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you meant to say, but
Yeah,
either way,
that is what I meant.
Obviously, it's Colorado, a team that is, always at the bottom of the table. They had a one good season in 2021. But normally a team that's not very good, was terrible last year. They did revamp this offseason with Zach Steffen coming back over to the MLS, Jordy Mihailovic coming back over to the MLS, adding a couple more pieces. They're spending money. And then they just completely fell apart. Did not matter. Zach Steffen going to do Zach Steffen things, I guess, even though I don't think it was all on him. But nonetheless, Portland, up 4-1. I do think it's a little bit of a fluky win. But they got the job done. I am surprised. It did look like classic Phil Neville fashion. And mind you, this is a Portland team without their star player, Evander. So, look, I always said, I'm not the biggest Phil Neville guy. I watched this man. I watched him coach every single game his time at Inter Miami. I don't think he's the greatest tactician. I think he's not a bad locker room guy. And I will say he was never truly given a fair chance at Miami because he had to deal with his first year, not his team. Didn't bring in these players. The second year, they were under sanctions. Same thing in his third year. That first half of his third year, under sanctions. Never really got to play with Messi or anything. Obviously, they weren't going to let him touch that. Look, I don't think he was ever truly given the proper opportunities, but he also didn't really make the most of it. I mean, he was able to bring Miami to the playoffs, but we'll see with here in Portland, where he's actually going to get a chance to have a team of his own without sanctions, with the whoever he wants to bring in. He brought in Kamal Miller, his boy from Miami, played well. So we'll see how Portland goes. I am really interested to see how he does as a coach now, having like full reins of a team. So that's kind of like my big thing coming out of week 1. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So based off week 1, we're going to do a little bit of season predictions. We're going to go through the Western Conference champions, Eastern Conference champions, Supporter Shield, Dark Horse team, and MLS Cup. So based off what we saw from week 1 and all the offseason moves and all these things, I'm going to go with you, Will. I'm going to start off with you first. Who do you got? Start from the top. You can start with the conference champions, then Supporter Shield, Dark Horse, and then your MLS Cup. Just rattle it off. You're probably going to be wrong, but fuck it.
Probably these guesses are going to be completely off. So anybody watching this, don't come back and kill me. Don't attack me on Twitter or anything.
No,
so
do it.
Starting off with the Western a little bit, kind of like you were saying. For me personally, before week 1, kind of looking into it, I'll keep it real. I'm hot on the guys out in St. Louis. New team. Obviously, it's the Brazilian João Klaus. They're a hot team. They're a hot team. Second season in the league. I don't know. I think they had some good little movements. I'm going to be honest. I am hot on their goalkeeper. I rate him really, really high. He's extremely. I think he was honestly.
Hot take by Will. He rates the goalkeeper of the year. Really good. Hot take. He rates the former goalkeeper of the year last year as a good player.
So let me change. Let me put it to you this way then. How about this? who do you think? Who would you rather have on your team if you were an MLS team right now? Would you rather have Roman Berkey? Would you rather have Hugo Lloris?
Oh man, I'm gonna stick with Berkey. I think Hugo's past due. I think he'll do fine with LAFC. I don't think they're going to win the Western Conference though. They've had obviously good runs, and I think they'll still make the playoffs. I don't think it's they're not going to finish in 11th place or something like that. But I would definitely have Berkey. But I don't know, St. Louis. I mean Austin. They could really be kicking on the door. They have in the past year.
St. Louis did just get knocked out of Champions League already. Champions Cup.
They did. Already. They did, but that was to a hot Houston team. So we'll see. I think the Western Conference, though, all in all, is probably arguably hands down. I love the Eastern Conference. That's where my guys, Orlando City, are at. But I have to say, Western Conference, head to toe, is probably going to be the more competitive and more, I would say, dominating conference this season. So
that's why I'll give my thoughts after. Keep on going. We'll give me East.
Yeah, East. There's a lot of talk, and this might be kind of just. You guys might laugh at me a little. Might say, "Oh, okay, we can see that pick happening." But I think Orlando. I think it's past time for these guys. It's due. Their time is due now. So I rate them really highly. Obviously, as a supporter, but the team, the team chemistry. Obviously, week one, there's definitely some things they still need to work on. But I think having that Concacaf, those games in between, kind of help them out a little bit, score some goals, boost some confidence within the camp. But we've had some good moves. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw with Duncan McGuire. That was a whole ordeal.
Oh, yeah. That was wild. Yeah.
His whole thing. So he's going originally.
Going to Blackburn. Yeah.
Right.
He's not.
And then he's not. They're trading this guy like a football. They're tossing him back and forth. They don't know what they want to do with him. But all is said and done. I saw something where like the paperwork, correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys, but it was like the last day and then the deadline happened, but they never submitted the paperwork. And then he's on a flight back to Orlando, so it just all happened. But I don't know. I think Orlando City, I rate them high with Duncan McGuire, Facu Torres, San Galese. Nico Ladero pick him up from Seattle. I think Orlando, I mean, they have the pieces to do it up top. It's really going to come back to the defense, though. They were solid last season. I mean, really good. Obviously trying to make it to the conference finals again, back to back. But hopefully this year they can go an extra game from that and make it to the MLS Cup championship. So we'll see.
All right. Supporter Shield. Out of those two teams you picked, we lost one.
I think they've got what it takes. So
there you go. Or say it again. Out of your two Eastern Conference champions, who do you have as a supporter shield?
I got to go Orlando City. I think they'll be able to grab it.
Every time you say exactly the team, it cuts you out. Okay.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
We're good. All right, Orlando City. All right,
okay, there we go. Okay, it got out.
There we got it.
All right. All right, Orlando City supporter shield. All right, now give us a dark horse. Doesn't matter what conference.
Oh man, this is also a pick I had before.
Mind you, a dark horse to win the cup. What is it? No.
To win the cup. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they're fully right. I don't want to say fully they're a dark horse team, but I kind of got to go with the team Adam was talking about a little bit earlier ago, Toronto. They're a sleeper team.
Bro, Will is out here with it's either ice cold takes or hot ass takes.
Toronto could win it. I know. Listen, like I said, you guys
from worst to first. From worst to first.
They have the team. I mean, Bernadeschi, Insignia, Richie Larea, the Canadian left back.
Is he even still on that team?
Yeah, he is. He's very good, but he's the kind of player you like to have on your team. But if he plays for the other team, you fucking hate him. So I was getting the impression watching him. I was like, oh my god,
sure
when we play against this guy, like, oh my god, like I would fucking be pissed watching this man play.
Right. Exactly. He's annoying. I think they have the type of team, and like you said, I mean, we're talking about annoying, and who's the most annoying coach in the league? John Herdman. And it's no shame thrown at their team, but they have such a stingy team. And I mean that city as well, Toronto, cold, it's just a bitter, strong vibe. I mean, BMO Field also, or excuse me, BMO Field, that's a tough place to go win at as well. So as long as they can hold the home record, I think that could be a sleeper team. Obviously, I'm not saying they're going to get the number one,
Yeah, that's
overall
one
seeding
hell of a dark horse team.
But
That's one, that's one hell of a dark horse team you picked there. All right, give us MLS Cup. Who's winning it all?
Ah, man. I gotta stick
Just
with
say it. Just say it.
Orlando. I think
just say it.
It's the season. It's their season. So Orlando's got it.
All right. We got a clearly an Orlando fan here. All right, Adam, you give us the rundown. Conference winners, Supporter Shield, Dark Horse Cup.
Man, fuck. I know it's such a lame take, but for the Western Conference, I have to say LAFC. I still feel like they're really strong. They beat a very good Seattle team, who I think will also make the playoffs fairly easily, and is another favorite. But I think the first game definitely showed us who the stronger team is. So I feel like it'd be foolish after that, big first week matchup like that to pick anyone else. For the Eastern Conference, just based on the fact that we know that Messi and other players are going to miss a certain amount of games. I mean, Messi's the big one. I can't pick them as winning the Eastern Conference. It's a tough one. It's such a toss up, honestly, in my opinion, between Columbus and Cincinnati. I'll go Columbus. I know they're defending champions, and it's kind of another weak take, but then again, you can argue that if I picked Inter Miami to win the conference, that'd be the weaker take. They're just very good. They haven't gotten any worse. Same thing with LAFC. It's just the question is how much better did everyone get around them, and I think it'll be nice and it'll be competitive, but it's hard to say. Supporter Shield out of those two, um, I'd go. I'll go Columbus. The West is always a little bit more competitive. Um, it tends to be where there's games where anybody can beat anybody. So I'm gonna go with Columbus on that one. To win the MLS Cup.
No, your dark horse, and then
dark
cup.
horse.
Dark horse to win the cup, and then
Dark horse to win the cup is gonna be LA Galaxy. I was very impressed with them. And I know you're thinking, oh, they're a fucking historic team. They won a ton of MLS Cups. Well, if you've been watching and how bad they were and, the shit that they went through last season, they're definitely, not on the top of the list, especially considering that they're not even the favorite in their own city. But they're a very good team. I think they're going to get better and better as the season goes on. They had to do some restructuring. They had to change some things up. But they're definitely a dark horse, in my opinion. Now to win the cup, let's have some fun with this one. Even though Columbus are going to get the Community Shield, in my opinion, I'm going to say Cincinnati are actually going to get the job done this time in the playoffs.
All right. So my turn. So me and you are kind of on the same wavelength. I think for the West, I'm between Seattle or LAFC. I'm going to go Seattle because I feel that Seattle has a little bit more of a complete team. I think they have all four levels. My only concern with LAFC is they don't have a prominent DP number 9 striker that can take over a game. Obviously, it's going to be kind of hard because you have Bouanga, who's a very aggressive inverted winger who likes to cut in a lot. But I think there's still a lot of things up in the air about Carlos Vela. Obviously, They've pretty much replaced them with their new signing, but I still want to see what they're going to do in the attack. I'm curious to see how that works. And they still have Aaron Long as a center back. I'm not high on Aaron Long at all. That worries me a little bit. So I'm going to go Seattle here. I think Seattle to me, even though they lost the battle, I think they're going to win the war that is the regular season. And then as for the East, I have Columbus because I think Columbus didn't lose anybody. They're running it back, and they have a full season.
Their banner said that too. Do you see their tifo? I hate to interrupt, but they had a very, very good tifo to open the season, and one of the tifos actually read, "Let's run it back."
Yeah, and I could see them getting the East in the regular season because they don't have a lot of international players that they're going to lose. They got a full system. I think Diego Rossi coming in midway through the season, he wasn't able to be that same guy that he was at LAFC. Not that he played bad at Columbus, but I think he's going to have a full season under the system. I think they're going to play well. Cucho's already starting off hot. I think it's a team that is built to win again, and I think they're going to get the Eastern Conference Championship. As for Supporter Shield, I'm going to go Seattle because I think what might hurt Columbus is I think Columbus is going to go on a run for the Champions Cup. I think they're easily semifinalist in the tournament, in my opinion. And I think that's going to affect their record a lot in the regular season. And
over Houston?
Over Houston? No, Houston's on the other side, I'm pretty sure.
No,
I have to look at the bracket again. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought they were on the other bracket. I have to look at the thing again. You might be right.
Actually, I
think you are right. But I think with Seattle not having to worry about that, they can fully focus on the season. Not a whole lot of international players. I think they're going to pretty much get the job done. As for Dark Horse, I'm with Adam. I got LA Galaxy. I think what I saw with LA Galaxy over this game in Miami and what I predicted that they were going to be coming into the season is LA Galaxy has finally entered the new era of MLS. They've finally done with the ways of signing old European stars, and they're with the times of getting in prime players who played overseas and performed well overseas and still have years left. That Paintsill guy, he is going to be a menace in this league. That guy is going to be a monster. He played really well against Miami. You can tell you can tell it was the first game. I think once he settles into this league, he's going to be super lethal. Same thing with that Gabriel Peck from Vasco da Gama that they signed. He came in late against Miami. The little bit I saw from him, he looked good. I think he's going to be really dangerous. It's going to be a really fast team. Obviously, Ricky Puig is an absolute baller. He is an incredible midfielder, one of the best midfielders in MLS right now. I think once all three of those guys get moving, they're going to be a very, very scary team offensively. I think they might lack a little bit defensively, which has me as a dark horse. And I do think they lack a striker. I think Joveljic is not good enough. I think they need to find another striker there. Obviously, they might make some moves in the summer, so that might change. But as of right now, they're my dark horse. I think that's a really scary team that is really good and really fast. As for MLS Cup winner. So this, I'm a little conflicted here because I like a few teams, but I'm going to go Miami. And I know it's because I'm a Miami fan and you guys are going to say whatever, but I just think when you have that talent, if you can get them into a knockout tournament, anything is possible when you have Messi, Suarez, Busquets, barring no injuries, obviously. Yeah. I think anything can happen with that team in a tournament setting. I think that team is built to win tournaments. I don't think they have the legs to go Supporter Shield or all this. I think this is a team that is going to put all their eggs in the Concacaf Champions basket, the Leagues Cup, and then playoffs. And I think they're going to have the quality and the ability to get through that playoffs and win it. I think they're going to get the job done.
Yeah.
All right.
Hot take by Julian.
Hot take. Hey, you asked. That wasn't a dark horse. That wasn't a dark horse.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That was an actual favorite. Like, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough for them. But I think in a tournament setting, dude, if you get what you got at a Leagues Cup and probably better, like that team's gonna really step it up. And I mean, we haven't even seen the most of Miami. We'll see like once Busquets gets healthy.
And I'm most excited for coming Redondo. In. Yeah, that's the one that we really want to see. Because I think the one thing that I will say before we move on to Concacaf Champions Cup, not league, as much as I want to say league.
It says it even on our sheet.
Is that I think that was the one thing. That's the one thing that I think the LA Galaxy Inter Miami game proved to Miami, to their coaching staff and to their fan base and pretty much to everybody else. And Busquets cannot be the only one in the midfield doing this shit.
He can't. He can't be. It has to be a double pivot.
You cannot do this. Because not only is it overworking him, but it's the pressure and overworking him is causing him to make mistakes as well and giving the ball away. And if he has space to breathe and to play more his game, that's not going to happen. So that's why I'm very excited to see Redondo, and I think it was very clear that Busquets just cannot play by himself. He's not that player anymore.
Yeah, Arroyo doesn't get enough credit for what happened last year in the Leagues Cup run. Yeah. He played a huge factor defensively.
I mean, I loved him. I thought he was very good.
And he was cheap.
He
was cheap.
Yeah.
I think Gregory would have been great to have and keep, but Gregory, I think, just didn't fit the system. He was too expensive. I think
that
Redondo's
was the key there. I think he was a great team leader, but Gregor was just
I don't think he fit the system
too expensive. And
I think Tata wants to play more tactically and move the ball around, and Redondo fits that perfectly. From everything I'm hearing about, I haven't seen a single minute of that kid play, but from what I'm hearing, he's an absolute baller. He's been playing extremely well. He's basically, people are calling him the second coming of Busquets. We'll see if there's anybody for him to learn from.
Yeah,
playing next to Busquets is an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, that's sure as hell going to be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move over to Champions Cup. Let's start with the storylines out of round one. Will, what stuck out to you the most out of round one, these final couple games?
Man, there's still one more game tonight. I had to.
Show me the jersey. Show me the jersey.
No, I had it.
For the audio listeners, Will is wearing a Saprissa jersey. I'm guessing that's what you're going to talk about, right? You know,
a little bit, yeah, a little bit. Obviously, I know they can't see it, but it's got Fidel Escobar. So my Panamanian, love that guy. He is a wall of a defender. But yeah. So kind of kicking it off a little bit with Saprissa. Obviously, that game. I mean, I don't know if you guys were able to get the chance to watch it. Yeah, that was. I remember watching the first leg. And it was in Ricardo Saprissa. I mean, also, I have to say, I just got to call this guy out. We were talking a little bit about MLS. Glesnes, the center back at Philadelphia. I mean, what is he thinking? You know, and then obviously Andre Blake, there's some blame on both of them. But
the own goal. Yeah.
That first one. I mean, that was freaky. Like that was actually what was going on.
Obviously you can't say this for sure, but from what I'm hearing, people were saying who were at the game that it was also extremely windy, and that it was not uncommon during the game for there to be like crazy gusts, and they were saying that pretty much at that time there was a fat gust of wind, so that probably had something to do with it too. But I mean, most of the blame has to be put on the defender, in my opinion. I'm sorry, if you're gonna give a pass to the goalie, the expectation is that you're giving him something that he can deal with.
Right.
So yes, you can put some blame. Exactly. So and the man can't use his hands. Obviously, if there was no back pass rule, he would have saved that no problem. That ball is not going in the back of the net. And to some extent, I feel like as a goalie, I don't know. Do you get a red card? You probably will, but I would probably do that. If I'm being honest with you, if the ball's gonna go into the fucking net, I'm like, all right, you know what? Just give me whatever card you want to give me.
Nah, not in a
Whoops.
2-leg series.
And then I'll play dumb.
Not in a 2-leg series. I think
Yeah,
if
we can
it
play
was a
dumb.
one-off, then fuck it. But I think a 2-leg series, that's tough. But yeah,
It
go
is
ahead, Will.
tough,
What
but
was it?
yeah.
Exactly like Adam said, I have to blame Glesnes. I mean, the
Oh, you're cutting
Norwegian.
out again, Will.
Oh, you guys hear me now?
You might be
I don't
muted.
know.
All right, how about now, guys?
I don't know. I think it might be your internet connection.
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, that's very weird.
All right, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Okay, I'll get it now.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you guys. Yeah. Let me do this. All right. How about now, guys? Guys, hear me better?
Yeah, you're better. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. It's the blame's on Glesnes. There's like no question about it. I mean, not even just in that play, but the whole two series leg. Excuse me. He was dog water. In all due respect, he's still a solid center back. He's had good past seasons with Philadelphia, but hey, he looked fraudulent. He looked fraudulent, and not just him. Their whole defense, Philadelphia. I know not really going back to that topic, but we were talking about MLS. I didn't mention Philadelphia for anything. Genuinely, after watching these two games against Saprissa, they look fraudulent. I mean, they have
their defense looked poor. Absolutely, they do have good guys, and they can score goals, and they will score goals. But Jesus Christ, I agree with you. They're very leaky. It's gonna be interesting to see how this season turns out for them.
Yeah,
they'd be the team I would say I'm most worried about.
Yeah. We'll see how they do, but no, that's the Saprissa game. The whole series was incredible to watch. It was nice. It was a good series. It was fun. Obviously watching kind of from a neutral standpoint, but unlucky if you're Saprissa. Obviously Philadelphia goes a man down in like the 95th minute, and then you just kind of give it away, But I have to shout out also Kendall Watson. That was probably the most Concacaf thing you'll ever watch in your life. Center back, guys like 6'8". He's playing center 9. He's the main striker.
He's done that for the national team too. He's done it for the national team. Yeah, I'm with that. That game was awesome. I was rooting for Saprissa. My family were Saprissa fans, and I was hoping they can get and the Saprissa fans showed out for that game too. There was a lot. If you even hear it on the call too, you heard a lot of Costa Ricans in the background cheering when they scored. And man, it wasn't even to the fact that it was high scoring. It was the type of goals as well. Like I forget, you know the name, but the Argentinian player that they signed for Saprissa, that guy is the best player in the Costa Rican league. He is extremely good, and man, he scored one hell of a fucking free kick. Incredible. And for a second there, I'm like, holy shit, Saprissa might actually win this. And I don't know if you remember, you were probably watching the video at the time. Me and Adam were doing the predictions. I'm like, if anybody can make I predicted a Saprissa upset or Philly. I thought Philly being fresh into the season, trying to figure things out. Right. I could see a potential Saprissa upset. Saprissa winning the championship, started their season a little bit early. After that first leg, I was a little worried, but then I started to see the goals start racking in. And dude, please, CONCACAF, get rid of fucking away goals. Get rid of away goal advantage. It's so annoying. It forced them to score so many. Obviously, once they scored 3, it was like, all right, it doesn't matter. Next goal wins, essentially. But the fact that they had to score that many, I just hate the away goal rule. It's just so dumb to me.
Yeah. But I cannot. And I mentioned this the other day. If a couple, either last episode or a couple episodes ago, I'm not allowed to talk about away goals because I'm extremely biased because Arsenal fan.
But it was awesome to see. I was really surprised to see Saprissa just not be scared. I loved how they had faith in their team. I think this Costa Rican league, the top 3 teams, they're solid teams. They can compete in this tournament. And we could have had the first time we see 3 teams in the quarterfinal, round of 16 in a while. Just have all 3 teams advance. That would have been awesome. But Saprissa put up a really good fight. It's a shame that they weren't able to get in because I would have loved to seen Saprissa Herediano like quarterfinal because even barring Saprissa was able to beat Pachuca. Obviously, I think Herediano's we'll get into predictions, but I think they're gonna beat Robin Hood. But it would have been nice to see that both teams advance, and I was hoping for the upset. It would have been awesome. But yeah, one hell of a game, awesome game. There's been a lot of really good games in Champions Cup so far. But Will, what's your other storyline? Hit me with another one.
Man, I got to say the Houston one. That game with St. Louis. Talking to St. Louis a little bit, I really rated their team. I wouldn't call myself a Houston supporter, but Adalberto Carrasquilla. Yeah, Carrasquilla is my guy. I would get ran over by a car for that guy. That's how much I love him, and seeing what he's done with the national team and, grown and obviously, he didn't go overseas this past transfer window, but he is still at a high level. I still genuinely believe, me personally, I don't know if the viewers are going to agree with this, but I still think the MLS is a top 10 league in the world. I think they have the quality. I think they have the depth. So I think he'll still be getting good challenges week in, week out. So, but yeah, no, that Houston game with St. Louis, that was a good draw. I saw that. I remember when the draw happened a couple months ago, it was kind of like, I don't know how how it would kind of handle it, and it was an unfair draw, I have to say, for both teams, not just for Houston, but for them, when you have, not saying anything against Robin Hood, but the Caribbean champion advancing, or even like in Orlando City facing a Calvary, which also did happen that game just a few days ago as well. So unfair, I guess you could say, for both teams, but it's the luck of the draw. And I don't know. I said, I think Houston could compete. I think they can make a run. I know we'll get into the predictions, but I think they can make a little bit of a run. I'm saying maybe a semifinal. I don't want to say finals too early. I don't want to hop on that train yet because there is Inter Miami. There's still Monterey. There's still Nashville on that bracket. So we'll see, though. But good stuff from Houston.
All right. So that's all you got for storylines. You want to head over to predictions?
That sounds good with me. If you guys want to, let's get it.
All right. So let's go over it. I don't know why, but the Concacaf website has not updated the bracket, and it's really bothering me. But I'm going to put it up anyways, just so we have it and we can take a look at it. Let me pull it up right here. All right. So we're going to start on the left side, and then we'll move over. I'll zoom in a little bit more so we can all see and participate.
Crazy how they don't update the fucking the
yeah, I know,
Champions
right?
League bracket.
I mean, I don't know.
Ridiculous.
So
the most Concacaf thing you'll ever see.
Yeah, honestly, not updating the thing. So I don't know if it's because they're waiting on the final game tonight, New England versus, what's the name? Independiente.
Kai. Yeah, Independiente.
Kai. Okay.
Yeah.
Independiente. Right. I don't know why, dude. Every time I try to speak Spanish on this show, I fucking stumble across my fucking words. Independiente. But yeah. So I don't know if that's the reason why they haven't updated the bracket. It's kind of a stupid ass reason, if you ask me, because they updated some parts of it, like this Robin Hood Herediano one and Guadalajara and America. But that, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But we all know they updated this part. So Philly versus Pachuca. I'll start off with you again, Will. What do you think of this game?
Oh, man. This is a tough one. Because, can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously the easy answer, I think for most people would say, is Pachuca. They're in season. They're in form. I want to say they're doing pretty decent right now. Not the hottest in Liga MX, but they are, still in season. They're weeks. They're weeks ahead. Philadelphia obviously did have a 2-legged affair against Saprissa, and they had their game over the weekend, their first game in the MLS. I don't know. I really want to say that I could see a Philadelphia triumph, but Pachuca, I mean, man, Salomon Rondon, the Venezuelan, this guy, he's a beast. This guy, he played in Everton, River Plate, and he knows how to get physical when it needs to get on the pitch. I don't know. I just feel like I said, we were already talking about that Philadelphia defense. I see Glesnes, to be quite honest with you. I see him making like an own goal, in this affair with Pachuca. So I think Pachuca's got it.
All right, just so for clarification on their standings in the league right now, they've played 9 games. They're 6-1-2. They're third in Liga MX. They're tied for third. They're in third due to goal differential, but their goal differential is 21 goals, 16 allowed, versus everybody else isn't even remotely close to that in the top 8. The next lowest in the top 8, the next highest goals allowed in the top 8 is 11. So they're extremely, extremely leaky. Philly, a team that's also kind of leaky, but can put up goals with obviously Julian Carranza, Daniel Gazdag, and all them guys. They're a team that can put up points. But I think Pachuca, like you said, is just going to have a little bit more quality. I have a feeling that Philly is just, after seeing what they let up against Saprissa, it makes me worried against a higher level team. And I don't know if they're going to be good enough to get the job done. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be tough. Pachuca, I believe, is going to have the advantage. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Pachuca will host the second game. I have Pachuca advancing here. Adam, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just think that we'll like we said earlier, Philadelphia, they'll score goals, but they're the team that should be worried this year. And if when it really comes down to it, I don't see them advancing.
Yeah, it is going to be. I think it's going to be a shootout. You're going to see a super high aggregate. I think both games are going to be really high scoring.
It's just
both teams letting up a
could be
lot
close,
of goals,
but it's just I still don't see them, advancing through it.
Right.
All right, let's go down to the next game. We got Robin Hood versus Herediano.
Mm.
Well, we'll start with you again. Who do you got out of this series, this matchup?
Man, I don't want to spare the feelings of any of the Suriname people or long dated, and talk about Herediano, but Herediano, it's straightforward. I think, Robin Hood, like I said, big ups to them. I really don't want to take away anything. Winning the Caribbean Cup is big, especially for these guys. Yeah, it was a big deal. But this is CONCACAF's best, and Herediano, what they did, we talked about it a little bit last time on the last pod. That's still a very impressive win over Toluca, So don't take anything away from them. I think Herediano's fresh. I think they're going to be riding that last victory that they had in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and I think they'll keep it going.
I think they're going to absolutely keep it going. I mean, they're a team on a roll, and then we're talking about a team that plays in a country that is so bad that they can't play with the South Americans and have to play with us. I mean, come on, let's be real. Like, they're South American.
In a way, you're not wrong. I think it's part of the reason why they brought Suriname and Guyana and those countries into the CONCACAF. It just fits their level more.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, obviously, I'm biased. Costa Rican, Herediano, they're going to advance. I think they're going to advance very easily. I mean, obviously, doing what they did at Toluca cannot be put down at all. And I think they're going to do the same here. They're going to advance. And it's probably going to be the first Costa Rican team to make it to a quarterfinal in a while. So, yeah. So, all right. So we're going to have a Pachuca Herediano matchup, which I think might be pretty interesting. All right. Let's move on to the other quarter of the bracket. And here we have the amazing matchup, Chivas versus America. a big matchup. All eyes are going to be on this game. This is probably going to be one of the most thrilling games this round. Will, we'll start off with you again. Who do you got?
Oh, this is tough. This is tough because I have friends on both. I have friends for both teams, for America and for Chivas Guadalajara. I don't know if you guys saw this little fun thing with the little fun fact to the game. They're going to be playing each other 3 times in the span of like 2 weeks because they have a Liga MX game that same, I think the first leg that weekend, and then they have the second leg, and it's just, this is for many people, obviously they probably know this is like the Classico of I wouldn't even say CONCACAF, of all of America. This is big. This is a big game between 2 historically rival teams. Obviously, kind of getting into the teams a little bit. America, coming off obviously a really good Liga MX campaign last season. They're starting off solid this season. I would say for their terms, pretty good. So they're going to ride. They're going to keep going. Alejandro Zendejas up top. The Chilean in the midfield. I'm forgetting his name right now, but oh my goodness. But that guy, he is solid. He's probably their biggest playmaker within the midfield. He'll produce some things. America's got a lot of weapons, and there's no question. It's Club America. They've got the money. They can buy, and they had a good transfer market window during the wintertime. Chivas, obviously, as well, bringing back Chicharito. I think he'll be fit for this series. I definitely know he'll be wanting to play this one. Cade Cowell.
I think you have Valdez, by the way. I just wanted
Valdez,
to
yes. Yeah. Diego Valdez. Yeah. That's the thing. I think there's a lot of talent on both sides. Obviously, if you had to break it down, Club America, I personally think has a little bit more. I'm going to kind of go with it. I think the biggest difference maker in this, I don't want to say it'll be a high scoring affair, but I think Club America, Luis Malagón, I have to say this guy, I know Mexicans rate and love Ochoa, but this guy's the next big thing for them. He is absolutely, he's the wall. I've seen some of his highlights and seen some what he's done in the Liga MX. It's up there. It's up there with some of the top CONCACAF goalkeepers, I would say. So I think, honestly, the defense for America will come up big. I know they're going to be hosting the second leg, I believe. So Estadio Azteca is going to be rocking that one, but I got to go America.
Yeah, they
have
it.
Yeah,
they have the advantage. So yeah, second leg is going to be in there. And for me, that's going to determine it for me. I agree with you. I think America just has a little bit more talent. I think Quiñones, Valdez, Zendejas. I think they just have a lot of talent, and I think they have the ability to, and they're starting off the season really strong. Guadalajara, they're not playing bad, but they're not playing amazing either. They're 4-2 on the season. We'll see how things go. It's definitely going to be must-watch TV though, for sure. And I'm gonna go Americas here. Like I said, I think they just have more veteran talent. They have guys that have been here and done that and have played well. And I think they're going to advance. But you, Adam?
You know what? I hate to be this guy, but I'm actually gonna save it and say let's move on to the next one because what you both said is pretty much exactly how I feel about this matchup, and I don't feel like repeating it over and over again. I think you guys hit the nail on the head on this one. It really could go either way, but if I had to lean, it would definitely be America.
Man, real quick, that America second leg is at 11:30. That's gonna hurt, dude. Why is it so late? Those Mexican games are always so late. The first leg's at 10, but then the one at the Azteca, 11:30. Man, that's late for Mexico. Yeah, like 8:30. That's an 8:30 kickoff. Like, man,
I think 9:30, something like that.
9:30. Is it 2 hours? You might be right. It might be 2 hours. That's a 9:30 kickoff. That's a late ass kickoff.
Right.
Oh man. All right, let's go down. We're going. All right. Will.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Don't say
Let's assume New England's going to advance today. Let's assume. Hey, look, I know they're only up 1-0 on the leg,
Yeah.
And anything can happen.
Yeah.
And give
it's
us
a
a
wrap.
prediction for both.
New England's winning it. I'm
Okay.
going to put that out there.
Okay. All right. So it's New England versus Alajuelense. Who do you got?
Yeah. That's going to be a tough one. Oh, man. Thinking real quick on Kai, though. There, just for in regards to tonight, I know that game's coming up later. They're not going to win tonight. I love them. I really love the boys. They've done a great things within Panama, and I will say they've started actual fan bases, and people are coming together, and I love to see it. And they've won their third cup, their third Panamanian Cup, but after the winter transfer market, they lost half the team. Guys are going left and right all over Latin America. So yeah, they're not winning tonight. But in regards, I think New England Revolution, they'll move on and they'll play Alajuelense, which Alajuelense, unlike Robin Hood, I do rate more. I think they've got, obviously, and it's clear to say they've got way more talent within the roster. Oh,
we lost Will again. Yeah, we got you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I think that second leg's going to be big for them. I think New England has a good home field advantage within Gillette, but I don't know. There's obviously always this debate, whether for some MLS teams, if they don't pack the stadiums out or if they do, or how the crowds are. I think they're just not going to show up that first leg. Their fan base. They'll have some people there, of course, but I don't think it's going to affect Alajuelense. The weather might a little bit, but with that second leg being back in Costa Rica, I think Alajuelense can honestly cruise with that and try to. Of course, I make it sound easy, but it's not going to. Gillette is still a hard place to play, but I think Alajuelense can win this one.
It's a hard place to play with your ACLs, dude. That takes ACLs left and right. I'm going to say this is a very good matchup because this is a New England team that is not that good. It's a New England team that lost 3-1 against DC United week 1, which DC United also not a very good team. New England is not very strong. I think they're good enough to beat the Panamanian team, Kai, but Alajuela they're a talented team. They're a very tough squad. Obviously, they won the Central American Cup. They're playing really well right now. I think they have a lot of talent. Obviously, the legend Celso Borges, Joel Campbell. They got players.
Arsenal legend Joel Campbell.
Yeah. And ending his career off in Costa Rica, going back home. Aaron Suarez, who's been getting some national team call-ups in Costa Rica. He's playing well. I think it's a team right now. Morea, the goalkeeper, can't pronounce his name at the moment. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's national team level. And from what I'm hearing, I don't think a lot of people really rate him in the Costa Rican level. But nonetheless, he's still an experienced goalkeeper who's played against high-level talent. And I think it's going to be a really, really close game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Alajuela having that advantage back home, I think they get the upset here. I think New England is just too rocky. They're just not good enough. They don't have enough talent. I think they're still riddling with injuries from players that they lost last year because of that terrible turf. I think Alajuela is going to be rocking. I think that stadium is going to be absolutely bumping. Look, I know my family's Saprissa fans, but seeing the fans in Alajuela, like they just go super hard. Like I'm not very allegiant to either team. I would love to go to a game, but I think they get the job done. I think they get the upset of New England. I think New England wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament. New England only got in because Columbus Crew won the cup. And New England even got in that position because of a really strong first half of the season last year with Bruce Arena. But then after the whole Bruce Arena thing went down, the team started to fall off. Petrovic, now Chelsea goalkeeper, left in the summer, which hurt them a lot defensively. It seems like they're still missing Barreo. I just don't think they're good enough to get the job done. And I think Alajuela is going to sit back, play defensive, get the job, and squeak out 1-0 wins.
Yeah.
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the same thing. We were saying, or I rather, um, you know, yeah, actually, yeah, at the end of last season, we were talking definitely about how New England, they really were such a good team in the first half. It wasn't just down to good luck and everything. Bruce Arena really did have a good unit, a very good group of talented players, but they were very together. Carlos Heel is such a great player. I mean, any team in the MLS would take him in
He's
a heartbeat.
incredible number
I
10.
mean, he's such a good number 10. But yeah, since that whole situation, it really has sucked the life out of them. They have not looked the same. The fact that they are only up 1-0 on aggregate, I think, says pretty much all you need to know about them. So I would agree, and I think that I just couldn't see them moving on.
I will say shout out to Noah Buck, really good young talent. He's getting looks from England right now. He did get called up to the England U19 team. And I love that player, Dylan Barrero. It's a shame he got injured last year, and hopefully he'll be back soon. But yeah. All right, let's move over to the other side of the bracket here. Let me all right, here we go. So we have Columbus automatically advancing due to winning MLS Cup. And then Houston beating St. Louis that Will talked about ad nauseum. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so we got Columbus versus Houston. Will, who do you got here?
Keeping it short and sweet. It's Houston. I think Columbus.
Wow.
I know. Listen,
Homer.
Hear me out on this one. Hear me out on this one, though. Darlington, Nagby, obviously Rossi. They were, like you said, they didn't lose anybody this past winter. So it's not like Columbus went down. They're still riding. And if anything, they picked up a few more guys. They picked up, shout out that Guatemalan goalkeeper, Nico Hagen. I mean, that dude's a beast, So I don't even know if he's going to start this game. That's how deep Columbus is. I think, though, with
Schulte,
Houston. Yeah. I think with Houston's, I have to say it, the midfield play. There was an argument I saw a little bit ago on X before we hopped on the pod, and it was the debate between Darlington Nagbe or Adalberto Coco Carrasquilla and who's better, who's better in that midfield role. Nagbe's obviously, a world talent. All right, I wouldn't go that far, but he's a class talent. He's had multiple calls with the U.S. national team. I want to say he was on 2 of their Gold Cup winning squads. I know 2017 and can't remember the other one. And then obviously Carrasquilla, what he's done, past summer with Panama, what he's done with Houston, taking them to the playoffs and whatnot. But I think this is going to be a series in the battle of the midfields, and also for Houston with Hector Herrera, coming back for another season. I don't know. I think there's just going to be enough firepower from Houston to be able to go for it. I know the first leg will be in Houston, so I think they have to take advantage of that and then hop on the gun. Do not let Columbus score and then see what they can go from there. But I think the boys in Houston got it.
I got Columbus here. I think, yes, it's going to be a midfield battle, and I think they're going to do great. But the only problem with Houston is they lack the firepower offensively in the attack. Versus Columbus has probably the best attack in the league. I think, even though I love Hector Herrera, Ache and Coco Carrasquilla, they can only take you so far if they don't have the people in front of them. And we saw that in that Houston game. They still, 1 goal each game. I think Columbus just has too much firepower to be stopped. I believe they have the best coach in MLS, and they're just going to get the job done. I think they're going to move on in advance. Adam, who you got?
I would agree with you, Julian. I I just think that Columbus are too good of a team. I think they're going to be trying very hard in this competition. And it's not that I think Houston's, they're a good team too, obviously. I mean, they deserve to be here after their U.S. Open Cup run. Other than that, they've been a good team. But Columbus, I just feel have the better everything.
All right, let's go down to probably another really, really big, really good matchup. Tigres versus Orlando City. Will, obviously, start off with you again. The big Orlando guy. Guy has Orlando getting the treble this year. He's got, so we know who he's picking.
Yeah. I think, honestly, piggybacking off of what you just said, Julian, I think they're really going to be putting their eggs in the basket for that. Kind of funny enough, Tigres was the exact same team Orlando faced last year in the Concacaf league. If that's, I want to be.
And they got fucked by away goals.
Yeah, exactly. So away goals, that needs to be done completely, but it's not. We know how CONCACAF is. They're a step behind everybody else. But
they finally added one leg finals. They finally added a one leg final on a neutral location.
Yeah, it took them a while. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think Orlando, they obviously have what it takes. And this might be a little bit disheartening.
Lost Will again. All right, there
you guys hear me now?
You're back. Will.
I don't want to say they're going to steamroll over Orlando City, but I think this is going to be it's going to be a one-legged affair. I think Vancouver was kind of just a sign of that. Obviously, Vancouver isn't up to the depth chart that Orlando has, but I mean, you saw what they were able to do with them, and it kind of really starts up top with Gignac, Quinones. Also, obviously, their goalkeeper Noel Molina. I mean, he can be something else at times, but I mean, when you think
is he going to play over Guzman, you think?
That's who I meant. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Guzman. That's who I meant. Yeah, that's who I meant. Guzman. Yeah, Noel Guzman. My apologies. Yeah, no,
you can't miss the thing he has.
Oh my gosh, the little mohawk he's got. Yeah, he is something else. But he gets the job done though. So I think Orlando City, they really got to go in that first leg, kind of like I was saying about the Houston affair with Columbus as well. They need to go in there fresh and hot, ready for that first leg. Obviously St. Louis won 2-1 against Houston, but we saw away goals bit them in the butt. I think the same thing can happen here to Orlando, but if they go in there locked and loaded first leg, anything could happen. It is a toss-up, but I do see Tigres winning this one.
Yeah, as for me, this is a tough one. I'm really having a tough time picking this one because these are teams that really they have a lot of firepower. I think Tigres, I don't know if they still are, but they're for sure have one of the highest payrolls in North America, if not the highest payroll in North America. And then you have Orlando City, who just beefed up their team even more and going to be looking out for blood, especially after what happened last year. This is going to be a rematch of what happened last year. Look, man, I mean, Orlando, obviously you got Facundo Torres, Duncan McGuire, which I'm not super high on Duncan McGuire. I think he's a little overrated. That's just me. I don't think he's that great. I think he's a great athlete. I don't think he's super great technically. Obviously, Nico Ladero, who's experienced now MLS CONCACAF champion, versus Tigres. Tigres, man, Gignac. I think we talked about it before. The dude's probably the best signing.
Yeah, he's such a great signing.
Yeah. He's been one of the best players in North America for the past 5 years. Dude has been, since he's come to Mexico from France, he's just been playing so well. And I think with Tigres having the advantage with the second leg being at home, I'm going to go Orlando here. I think Tigres is just going to have what it takes to get it done. I think they absolutely obliterated Vancouver. Granted, Vancouver was not a great team. Orlando's a better team than Vancouver. I just think Tigres is they're just so good. And I think Orlando's still trying to figure things out, which we kind of saw in that Montreal game. I got Tigres advancing. Adam, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm the same. I just think that Tigres, I mean, they have to be considered one of the favorites for the whole competition. Um, and in the future, like, if this was happening a few months down the line, maybe I'd give Orlando a little bit of credit because, like we mentioned, they made some good moves, and I think what
They
they're
always start
doing there
slow.
is yeah, they do. Um, so I think that's going to come back to bite them, and I would agree with what you said mainly. Um, Gignac is going to be the star. I mean, he's always seems to do something for them. Uh, it's fun to talk about that guy. Really
All
is.
right. Will's got Orlando. Me and Adam got Tigres. All right. Let's hit this final corner over here. We got Monterrey versus Cincinnati. Incredible matchup. Brandon Vasquez going back to Cincinnati after leaving. This is going to be I'm really excited to see this matchup. I think it's going to be really fun. Start off with you, Will. Who do you got in the Brandon Vasquez Classico?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, okay, we hear you. Yeah. Did you hear what I said?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. The Monterey going back, Brandon Vasquez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a good game to watch. I think just all in all, obviously the storyline, the big one's going to be Brandon Vasquez going back to his hometown, or excuse me, not to his hometown, but going back to his MLS stomping ground with Cincinnati. I think honestly, though, realistically, breaking it down, going team to team, I think Monterrey just have the better team also on paper. They have the leadership in the back with Hector Moreno. They have up top Brandon Vasquez, one of the new biggest signings. And then also just what they did in their past leg game against Comunicaciones, the team from Guatemala. I mean, absolutely just stomped the door on these guys. It wasn't even close. I mean, the first leg was there was a maybe, a little bit back and forth within the first half. But then after that first goal in the second leg back in Monterrey, I mean, they just shut the door down on these guys. So I think Monterrey have obviously what it takes. Cincinnati have as well. I mean, they have a really, really good team with, correct me if I want to say his name properly, Lucha Acosta, the Argentinian.
Yes.
Acosta,
Yep.
And then obviously they have, the team that can compete with Monterrey as well from the front to the back. But I think Monterrey, I've got to say they've got what it takes, and I think they'll be making a little bit of a deep run. So I think Monterrey wins this one.
Yeah, man, for me, this is a tough one. Because Cincinnati also beefed up defensively too, adding Miles Robinson. Obviously, you got Matt Miazga back there. You're keeping Barriel on the left wing. You have Bupenza, who's back in his first full season. They are missing Brandon Vasquez, which was a big piece. But to be fair, Brandon Vasquez really slowed down in that second half of the season. Lucha Acosta, MLS MVP. There's just so much talent on there. And then Monterrey, you have obviously Brandon Vasquez. You have Canales. You got so many pieces on there too. And top playing best team in the Liga MX right now in first place. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. But man, this is tough. I think it's going to be a shootout for sure. I'm going to go Monterrey here. I think they're just going to have a little bit more quality. I think when it comes to these type of close matchups, I always want to lean more towards the team that's the most warmed up. And I know Bupenza supposedly had a really great preseason. I'm just curious to see, after a little bit of a lackluster performance against Toronto, not having that second striker that they really want there to replace Brandon Vasquez makes me want to lean Monterrey here. I think Monterrey is going to advance and move forward, but I can see it going either way. But if gun to my head, I'm going Monterrey.
Yeah, just for fun. I mean, I agree with you guys.
I love Canales too.
Yeah,
Real Sociedad, Real Betis legend.
But just for fun, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to say that Cincinnati, you're going to pull it off. Like Julian said, I mean, this really could go either way. This is probably the matchup of the round of 16. If you're looking at the matchup on paper, this has to be the top. So yeah, I'm gonna go against you guys here. I'm just gonna take Cincinnati, but this is a great matchup.
I do want to say I do feel like a lot of these matchups have really balanced themselves out for this tournament. Like there's so many great matchups between Columbus, Houston, Tigres, Orlando, the Chivas America, Alajuelense, New England, Cincinnati, Monterrey, and now we'll start off with the final one: Miami versus Nashville. Another great matchup. A Leagues Cup final last year, rematching against each other. We got Nashville going to play the first leg at home and then the second leg at Miami. Will, who do you got here?
I've got to say, I got to shout out the Nashville fans a little bit first. Kind of reading a little bit on X, checking out a few minutes ago. I think they're more excited for this game than the actual team. Nashville has so much blood in their eyes after what happened in the Leagues Cup. That arguably might have been remarkably one of the greatest. I wouldn't even just say Leagues Cup games, but one of the best domestic games in North America in a while. I mean, the shootout and everything, and the way it went down. The goalkeepers taking the penalty kicks, and just the whole atmosphere. So I don't know. I think, this is. I mean, if you wanted to put a bet on this one, I would not. If I was a betting man, I would not go on this game. But with looking at obviously the rosters, the teams, Miami did get the bye, and they will be hosting the second leg. I think Nashville. I mean, of course, top to bottom, they're a really, really stacked team with Anibal Godoy, Fafo Picoult, if I'm pronouncing that right, Walker Zimmerman in the back. Up top, obviously, I don't even have to say his name, Hani Mukhtar. This guy, they're all around the field. They're stacked. I mean, of course, you can say the same about Miami. I think Nashville will.
We lost Will again. Well,
they're really going to be putting their eggs in the basket.
All right, you're back. Yep. So who'd you have?
Inter Miami. I think they've got it.
Inter Miami. Yeah. So I think I have to agree with you because things are a little bit up in the air if Hani Mukhtar is going to be ready. Obviously, Hani Mukhtar got injured in the first leg of the game against Mocha FC. From what I'm reading right now, it's saying that he's doubtful for the next game. And I don't really see an expected return yet. They haven't said exactly when he can come back. I think they're still trying to figure that out. Barring that he returns, which we'll see. And same thing with Sam Surge. Sam Surge, I love the signing in the summer transfer window. Obviously, guy with a ton of English Premier League and English Championship experience. I thought he was going to be a great piece to put next to Hani Mukhtar. Obviously, both of them being injured, I think that's really going to affect them. And we saw it in the New York Red Bulls game. Obviously going 0-0, looking very not exciting at all, honestly. I think Miami is going to advance here unless they're able, because it looks like they're going to Randall Leal's out to late March. Unless they can get Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surge back for that game, it's going to be a lot closer, and they might be ready for the second leg. And with the way Miami's looking, it looks like they're having a hard time putting points together. So if Nashville can keep Miami just one goal or tied in this this first leg, anything can happen in that second leg because I think both their star players are going to be back. But if I had to pick, if I'm a betting man, I'm going Miami. I think in these type of tournaments, you're just going to have a guy like Lionel Messi who's just going to step up. And by then, I'm hoping Busquets is going to be a little bit more healthy. He even said today that he still feels the pain in his ankle, but he feels like he's about a week away from being 100%. I think Redondo's going to have some time under his belt. I think defensively, you don't really have a ton to worry about, even though defensively Miami does scare me. Nashville, without Mukhtar or Sam Surge, they don't strike a lot of fear in my heart. I think Miami's going to have enough to get it done in advance.
Yeah, this is the kind of game, you look at the way these teams play. Nashville is going to sit back and they're going to try and counter. This could be a very stressful game for Miami unless their attack can be clinical. If their attack is clinical, then I think that they can make it so that this game isn't even close. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. These are two very good teams. But I'd have to lean Miami on this.
All right. And those are our CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16 predictions. Let us know how we did, if we're terrible, if we're going to be wrong, so on and so forth. We're going to do this each round of the tournament. We got a great list of games. I thought this first round, look, there was a lot of games didn't necessarily care too much about, but now almost every game that's on, I'm going to want to watch, outside of maybe the Robin Hood Ediano game, because I think that's just not going to be super competitive. But every game outside of that one, it's going to be a really good game. So I'm super excited. I think this might be the chance for MLS to kind of, if they can win their matchups, this could really tip it in the favor of them getting another team to win the championship. So we shall see. But
So,
Adam,
let's end it off with one of our favorite segments and definitely our most popular segment.
Will's first time.
We definitely we went a little in depth on the earlier picks on the early episodes, so we're gonna try and keep this quick. We're just gonna we're gonna go through each match. Julian, for those of you who are not familiar, Julian is gonna go through the odds, the betting odds for each game to kind of give us an idea of what the books are thinking. It helps with certain games that we may have not been following as much, or some teams that we just don't know about because of injuries or international breaks. It could be very useful to us. So we're going to be doing that. Also, I have a new spreadsheet. If Julian wants to pull that up, this is going to be how we're going to track the wins. So you guys can take a look and see. Let me just do this real quick, and then you can share it.
All right, let's see. So this is how we're going to be tracking it. This time it's going to be a little bit more organized.
And as you can see, so we're going to test it out with Julian. As you can see, if I type win, it's going to color code to know that it was successful and that it's counting it correctly. And as you can see, we got his count for 5 wins, 3 losses, and then it does his win percentage. So it's going to happen for everybody. I have all the matches here. I'm going to put the outcome of the match as they happen, and all of our picks are going to go here.
All right. Well, let's get started. This is match day 2 of our MLS predictions. Let's start it off with Minnesota United versus Columbus Crew. Minnesota plus 160 at home. Columbus Crew plus 145 away, with the draw being at plus 260. Adam, who do you got?
I got Columbus Crew in this one. They're a hot team. We've been talking them up. It'd be foolish not to take them.
All right, Will, who do you got?
Yeah, it's simple. It's the Crew. I think they've got this one in the bag.
All right, I got Crew too. All right, Crew 3. All right, on to the next game. We all 3 got Crew. Okay, we got Real Salt Lake versus Los Angeles FC, aka LAFC. Real Salt Lake plus 185, LAFC plus 130 on the road, with the draw being at plus 250. Adam, who do you got?
I got LAFC on this one.
You cut out a little bit, but I'm assuming he's got LAFC. Will, who do you got?
FC, that is correct.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I got to go with that one as well. I got to go LAFC. I think they've got it.
All right. I'm going LAFC. We're all together again on this. I think Real Salt Lake I think LAFC is just going to be too much for them, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. We got the Sunshine Classico or the Sun Pasico. I'm actually attending this game as a fan. I don't know if I told you, Adam, but I'm actually going to this game. We got Inter Miami versus Orlando City. Inter Miami minus 145, Orlando plus 350, with the draw being a plus 300. Not going to lie, the odds are tipping super heavy in Miami, probably more than I would think that they would be. But go ahead, Adam. What do you got? Who do you got?
I actually have a draw on this one. I think it'll be a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw.
Who do you got, Will?
I think the Orlando hype continues. I think they've got it this weekend. I think Facu Torres and the guys, they're going to be able to muscle it through, and I think they're hype. I think they're ready for this. They want to show off what we've got. So Orlando.
I'm going draw here too. I think Orlando might be a little too much for Inter Miami. I think Inter Miami's still trying to figure things out. They're going to be at home. So I think that, look, Messi's going to get his. The boys are going to get theirs. So I'm going draw here. I think I see a 2-2 draw. I'll take that plus 300. Hammer it. Give me my money. All right. Okay, so we completely lost Adam, but we're going to roll with it, Will.
All right.
All right, we got Vancouver versus Charlotte. Vancouver minus 125. Charlotte plus 300, with the draw being a plus 270. Who do you got, Will?
Man, Charlotte, I mean, a hot team. Really hot. Some new signings. Vancouver, obviously, we saw what they did. I think Charlotte all day. They've got it.
Yeah, I think they're leaning a little too heavy for Vancouver, in my opinion. But I actually see a draw here because of the travel. I like the draw here. And we'll see what Adam picks when he comes back. But all right, we got FC Dallas versus Montreal. FC Dallas minus 110, Montreal plus 280, with the draw being a plus 240. Who do you got, Will?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think Montreal, this is probably a good matchup for them, realistically, but I think FC Dallas, Jesus Ferreira, I mean, Pirate of the Caribbean. So see if he can become the Pirate of the Canadian teams now.
Yeah, I like the signing that they got, that striker from Porto at Dallas, the young, I believe he's Croatian. I'm really interested to see how well he plays. Montreal also got Kakaro, a big striker out of Uruguay and Brazil. So, my bad, Uruguay. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. I think Montreal has gotten better, but I think Dallas is going to have a little bit more firepower, especially being at home. I got Dallas at home winning. All right, we got next game, St. Louis versus NYCFC. St. Louis plus 125 and NYCFC plus 200, with the draw being a plus 230.
Oh, man. Nah, I don't want to say it, but I think I have to. I think it's going to be my first draw. I think St. Louis at home, it's going to be a tough crowd for them, coming off that loss. But I think NYCFC, they're a good team. They're a very, very good team to watch out for. So,
yeah, I got St. Louis here actually winning. I think St. Louis just has a little bit more quality. I think being at I want to go to a St. Louis game now. Seeing the atmosphere that they've been able to put together, I think could be very intimidating. Right. I got St. Louis. I think New York's definitely getting better, but I like them at home. All right. We got Sporting Kansas City versus the Philadelphia Union. Sporting KC plus 115. Philadelphia Union plus 210, with the draw being a plus 240. Who do you got?
Oh, man. Just for giggles, I'm going to say Sporting Kansas City. Philadelphia, I'm still a little bit hurt, after that win over Saprissa that they did. But I think Sporting KC, I think they're a hot team. They're playing in Kansas City. I mean, there's a reason why they call it, correct me if I'm wrong, the Blue Hell. Their fan base. I don't know what it is about that Midwest region up there, but they're absolutely passionate. They're into the game.
Ain't nothing else to do. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I apologize to all the Midwest fans out there. Don't listen to me.
But yeah, Sporting KC. I think the money line's on them. I think they'll get it done. I think Philly's still rattled from what happened a few nights ago. So,
I actually got the draw here. I think Sporting KC having that at home field advantage is going to be good, but Philly just has a lot of firepower. I think they're going to score. I'm so curious to see how Sporting KC's season plays out this year, but I'm going to go draw here. I like both of them. Probably, either 1-1 or 2-2 draw. All right. We got the Chicago Fire versus FC Cincinnati. Chicago Fire plus 130 at home. FC Cincinnati plus 185 away, with the draw being a plus 250.
Chicago Fire has probably had so many people hop on their bandwagon, since the season has started, or before the season started, excuse me. I don't know. I think they could win being at home. If I'm not wrong, this is their home opener as well for Chicago. So we'll see. I'm going to have to go with the 250, though. I think it's going to be a draw.
Yeah, Chicago obviously making the big signing from Genk from the Belgian league. I can't pronounce his name, but it's something with a P. And apparently this guy was just a straight baller over there. I think he had 19 goals or something last season. I think he's going to be a great to pair with Shaqiri. So we'll see how that matchup goes. But MC Cincinnati, obviously reigning Supporter Shield champions, they're just too good. I think Chicago still has a lot of pieces that they need to figure out and plug some holes. I think Cincinnati goes on the road and wins here. All right. We got the Houston Dynamo versus the New York Red Bulls. Houston plus 150 at home. New York Red Bulls plus 210 away, with the draw being a plus 230.
Oh man, this is I would say this is probably one of the most evenly matchups for week 2. Obviously, the New York Red Bulls, with their starting at their goalkeeper, the Paraguayan John Tolkien. They're a good team. They're a really good team. Houston as well. Obviously, we kind of talked about them a little bit earlier with what they have, with Coco Karski in the midfield and Herrera. I think honestly, kind of the same issues like we were talking about. I think New York has a pretty solid defense, so it's going to be hard for Houston to score goals. And I mean, we've already seen it, from the start of this season. It looks like it's gonna be a tough season for them to find it up top. So I think for that, I think they're gonna get another draw this week.
All right. I have Houston getting the win here. I think Houston has the quality. I think they're going to play really well. I'm not super high on New York at the moment until they prove me wrong. They just always seem to be this pressing team, which is not a lot of quality, but they're able to get the job done from a more athletic standpoint. They did make some great signings in the offseason, but I want to see how things play out throughout the season. Right now, I'm going with Houston. Like you said, Houston with a big win against St. Louis.
Yeah.
They're a proven team. They're kind of running it back. Obviously, I'm worried about the attack, but I got Houston here at home. All right. We got probably the most boring matchup, Colorado Rapids versus Nashville SC. Colorado plus 140 at home, Nashville SC plus 185, with the draw being a plus 230.
Wow. Yeah. You're not wrong about being
Mind you, Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surge are out of this game. They're doubtful.
Right.
So expect them not to play.
Yeah. I think still, even with those two, with Surge, the Brit, and then Hani Mukhtar, the one of the MLS legends, I still think Nashville has what it takes to win. Colorado, I know obviously last weekend, flukes happen. I realize we understand that, but I don't think that was just a fluke. I think that was a statement won by Portland, and then also I think that was really showing the weaknesses within this Colorado Rapids team. Zach Steffen, I love the guy. Obviously, he's a high quality goalkeeper. He's obviously on the U.S. depth chart as one of their goalkeepers. I think he's top 5, but I think they're still going to have a lot of holes this weekend. I think Nashville's still going to expose them, especially their midfield. I think Jordy Mihalovic. I think, this is a hot take. Maybe not. Maybe it's a cold take, but I think he's a fluke. I think genuinely he is just not built for what it takes, even in the MLS, So we'll see, but I gotta go with the 185 on Nashville.
Yeah, real quick with Mihailovic, I'm somebody who thought he gave up on Europe too quickly. I think he did like a half a season and left. I think he should have at least tried one more year. Look, Colorado, they're trying to do stuff. Nashville, obviously missing some big pieces. This is just a game that lines up for a draw to me. This is going to be a snooze fest. I'm going draw here. All right, let's go. Portland Timbers versus DC United. Portland minus 110 at home. DC United plus 260 with the draw being a plus 260.
Oh, DC, hot week last week, obviously 3-1 against, of course, the Revolution. So it wasn't a massive, and they were also at home. But Christian Benteke, I think, my personal opinion, I know we were talking, we got Adam back. There we go.
Adam's back, but we went on with that.
The site just decided to freeze, and I could hear you guys and everything. I can only see our background, like that nice little like neon Vice Wave background. So something was broke, and y'all couldn't hear me. So,
all right, go ahead, Will.
But it's fixed now.
Yeah. I think Portland. I mean, you're off for both of you guys, for both Julian and Adam. Your guy Phil Neville. I think he has what it takes to get another big time win. I'm not going to say 4-0, but I could see easily like a 2-0, a 3-1 victory. But I got to go with the Timbers on this one.
I actually have DC for this one. I think that Benteke, he's gonna wring out every ounce that he has left in those old legs of his, and they've rid the Rooney curse.
I have Portland here. I like Portland at home. I think they're coming off a really good game. I'm not super high on DC at all. I don't think they're that great. I think Portland hoping to get Evander back this game. Not sure why he didn't play the first game. I wasn't able to have a chance to look into it. But just in general, even without him, I think Portland being at home is going to be such a big advantage to them. Flying cross country, DC, and the talent that they have, I like Portland defensively. I think they're going to be good. I like Maxime Crepeau. I like Kamal Miller, obviously. I think Portland gets the advantage here, and they win. So let's go to the next game. We have Seattle versus Austin FC. Seattle minus 175 at home. Austin FC plus 440 with the draw being a plus 300. Will, go ahead.
This is straightforward. This is the Sounders. This is their type of game, home opener. I think, the big new signings that they had, that Argentinian, he came from Lanús. He scored the goal over the weekend in their loss, though, but I can't remember his name right now. But he's going to be something to handle this season. He's going to be ridiculously good. And I mean, just their whole team is as well. But I think Sounders all over Austin this game.
Yeah, their first game was a little bit of a hiccup. It was against a good side, but Seattle's going to have a great year, and it's going to start here.
Yeah, man, who knows what happened to Austin? They started off, they did that 2 seasons ago, played incredible, looked awesome. I love oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on their number 10? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Either way, Driussi, my bad. God, Driussi. I don't know why I completely forgot that. I love that guy, but I don't know what happened last year. I don't know, and it seems like they're about to have a repeat of this year. So
it was a weird situation.
Seattle, I have them as my Western Conference champions. I got Seattle winning here easily, especially at home. Austin doesn't stand a chance. All right, next game we got San Jose Earthquakes versus the Los Angeles Galaxy. San Jose plus 100, LA plus 210 with the draw being a plus 290.
This right here, this is the original California Classico. I know San Jose fans really like to remind everybody in the all of MLS realm that this is their rivalry. So yeah, I think home opener for them. I got to go with the draw though. I think the Galaxy, we were talking about them earlier. They have enough what it takes to be able to compete on the road and not just like last season. I know last season was an absolute disaster class for the Galaxy, but I think they have what it takes this season to play on the road, and maybe I'm wrong, so we'll see, but I think I'm going for the draw.
Well, I think I'm gonna go for Galaxy. I like what they had against Inter Miami. They probably should have won that game aside from last minute heroics. I think San Jose are gonna struggle this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I got LA as well. I think they're going to clean up some of the mistakes they made this first game against Miami. I think they're a little less clinical. I think they're going to be more clinical now. I think a week under their belt with Paintsil, Puig, Gabriel Peck. I think that's like Galaxy's going to be really good, especially in the attack. I got them winning this, hands down. All right, and then the final game, the Sunday game, prime time, 2 p.m. Solo dolo, no one else playing with them. They decided to pick New England Revolution versus Toronto FC. New England plus 160, Toronto plus 360, with the draw being a plus 310. Will, I'll start with you first since you had Toronto winning MLS Cup. See if you stick by that.
Dark horse. Hold on, dark horse. Dark horse team. I don't know. I think I want to say easily Toronto can win this game. You know, it's the Revolution. Obviously, I mean, they still have really, like you guys were talking about, Gill, Mark Anthony Kane, the Canadian international, a couple other skillful players on their team. But I think Toronto, I mean, Bernadette, Insignia, Jonathan Osorio, I mean, the list goes on. Richie Larea. It just goes on and on. I think
John Johnson.
Toronto. Yeah. I just, you know, this is something I think they're going to have to start learning if they really do want to be that contender of a team. And I think John Herdman has what it takes, kind of looking at his past away results, you know, when he was the Canadian men's coach. He did solid. He did very, very well on the road. Obviously, you know, for CONCACAF standards, it's a little bit different, but I think he has what it takes. I think Toronto can pull it off, and I think they'll get a win.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like they played really well, but it was just such a good matchup, their first game. So, you know, you could see that where they were going with their team, where they're going with their vision. And I think that despite this being in New England, Toronto will come out on top.
With Toronto, I believe it when I see it until they can score a goal. Here, I'm going with New England here. I think I like New England at home. This is a battle of two teams that aren't very good, but I think New England is a little bit better as of right now from what we've seen in past results. Obviously, Toronto, I believe, is more talented, but I like New England here. And yeah, though that is the picks of our week for match day 2 of MLS 2024 season.
And
let's
now,
see how we do next week.
Real quick, just for my records, I missed 3 games. Who do you guys have for Vancouver, Charlotte?
You want to go, Julian? Draw.
Just real quick, just so I can put it in there. You have draw.
Yeah, Charlotte.
You have Charlotte. I have Vancouver, by the way. Okay, St. Louis versus NYCFC.
Draw.
At St. Louis.
I have a draw. All right, and then Dallas, Montreal.
At Dallas.
Dallas as well.
All right, and now my records are up to date.
All right, and I say we call it a show there, boys. I think we ran a little longer than we thought we were. We didn't get a chance to talk any European Champions League, but we'll come back with it next week. Don't worry, we're gonna go super deep in UEFA Champions League, and yeah, and as well as Nations League. Nations League's coming up. I do want to talk some Nations League. I think that's going to be fun to get some international footy in that March window.
Nice little preview for Euro coming up this summer.
Yep. But yeah, any final thoughts, boys?
Well, I hope you guys watch the derby this week. The Sun Pacifico is going to be lit.
It's in Orlando, right? If I'm not wrong,
No,
yeah.
it's in
No,
it's
it
in
is
Miami.
It's in Miami.
Okay, you guys
Lauderdale.
have
My bad.
So
I'm
he will
actually
be there
going
as-
to that game, so
He will
I'm
be
super
there as a
excited.
fan. I will be there as a fan ambassador.
But anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching to the end. If you guys made it, and if you listened to us, thank you for listening to us. If you guys haven't done so already, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, the audio platforms, leave us a rating or a review. Be greatly appreciated. And yeah, that's a wrap on episode 26 on Real Fans FC, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace out, everybody.